How's everybody doing today? Well, you're almost done with me now. So, we are down to, let's see. We've got 3 more of these today. Well, actually just 2 more after today. But today's topic is going to be life today in the USA and life today in the world. So we got to kind of look at this as a global situation now, simply because of the fact that the UN and all of these other countries are now so relevant into the, I'd have to say, the purchase of the United States, with everybody coming in and all the wealthy people coming in from the legal levels, and then all of the poor people coming from across the borders. It has created a situation for us as Americans to be to where we're not going to recognize our own area anymore. And this is probably kind of unique to a certain extent, because you have this place where everybody in the world really wants to come to. But like I said earlier in some of the other issues, these people don't want to be Americans. But life today in the United States is not what it used to be a long time ago, and it's only going to get worse simply because everybody believes that coming here is going to solve the issues that they seek. And I say this simply because of the fact that, I know people that come from other countries. I've talked with people from Kenya and, whether that's South Africa or other things. And they come here because they believe that this money is readily available to everybody. And you and I know that because I've been here all my life, and I know the fact that, other people in other parts of the world have different areas of expertise and things like that. For instance, France at this point right now, which is one of the areas that I'm looking to move to, simply because of the fact that my last name and the fact that I kind of like the area, and there was one other thing. See, I'm kind of used to redwoods. And I happen to know they have a redwood grove over there, and I really want to check it out because I do a lot of camping and some things like that. So, but the issue that we're dealing with here is that France has a lot of issues that we have yet to not look into. Because now in this area, and this is the best part about this, is because I think this may be the only good thing about the U.S. today, is the fact that we've touched pretty much every single, I don't know if it's topic, you could say that, but at least the type of areas that are necessary to create jobs or to improve people's lives. Because now, just look at the inventions that are coming out every day. Even the cookware and all of the things that are happening with the tools. And again, I mentioned a long time ago that when I first started in the construction business, there weren't even nail guns. But now there are. And there's palm nailers and all these pieces of equipment that have been made since I've been in the industry. So as we look at what's going on in the United States, we got to look at the fact that at some point there has to be a situation where some of this has to come to somewhat of a not an end, so to speak, but at least a temporary slowdown or something, because I'm not afraid of technology as much as I am afraid of the people that use the technology. And again, we talked earlier about the fact that, we have all these crisis gun issues and people that are creating crimes and things like that. But again, we still don't have a system in place to show us who these people are. And the government really isn't going to do that simply because they don't want to scrutinize people and think that they should be some sort of director of your, free will. But in this instance, the majority of the free will of the people that are going to have major mental problems, major family problems, major health problems, or even major economic problems, even those 4 areas right there are going to cause major problems for a lot of people. And it'll be people that don't have the wherewithal to recover. And that's what I was saying before. And that's what life is today in the USA. It's not just that. It's the fact that if you don't have any money in the United States today, you're either homeless, you're about to be homeless, or you're living with somebody like family members or friends or somebody, and then at that point, even if you have at that level, you're one paycheck away from poverty. And then you have to look at those people that you keep wondering why all these houses and everything else. But you got to remember, these people that are in these houses and these cars and things, they don't own those cars. They're only borrowing and they're paying off and things like that, because you got to remember, there's only so many percentage of people in this country that are actually wealthy, and that's probably let's take 5% of this country is absolutely wealthy. The rest of the people are struggling to try to find what little bit of assistance they can from the life and the growth of how the greed in this country has gone forth. It's just not this country, it's everywhere else. Because you got to remember, look in some of the other countries right now, they have all these refugees, and that's part of this issue of life today in the world. But we'll talk about the refugees in a minute. But if you look at the other countries, and whether or not it's homelessness, which is, they're killing people left and right in Burma and these other places because these people got no place to go. So their idea is, well, let's just kill them, get rid of them. Now, what happens is the amount of people and instability and countries that are just being, just massed out by all these, because you'll notice only the bad things are happening. There's not very many good things that are going on. So you got to kind of look at it and say, well, how do you put a squash on all of the bad things? We try to do what I do. You try to talk about the good things and then recognize those bad things and say, well, listen, I got a solution. Whether that's personally, whether that's culturally, whether that's even economically. We need to start looking for people that have these answers. Me personally, I believe I got a couple answers. I got some for me. I don't have all the answers, but I can find out pretty much everything now that the internet is in place. And I think people should stop saying the fact that you can't know everything. Well, of course you can't know everything, but you can find out everything. You can solve everything. You can create a situation now to where you can learn so much, and then you're going to need help learning. But it's not like now that at this point in life, and especially in the United States, that you don't have the answer to any solution. That's what amazes me now when it comes to the education level. Because now that we know that the education level is slipping and it's moving further and further down even at the world scale, we've got teachers and these people that are only concerned about, hey, you just need to do this one thing. We don't want you to do anything else. We don't want you to be inventive. We don't want you to use your own creativity. We don't want you to try to figure out something different and improve the situation as it is. No, we want you to learn this one thing, and if you don't learn that one thing, you're done. And even though we now know that not everybody learns the same way, but yet we have a system and a government that's only going to do things one way. I kind of understand that a little bit, because in my spiritual life, it's only one way to heaven. People argue all the time, but I don't really care. It's not my issue. I'm checking that one way, and that's what I'm going to do. Now, I don't have to deal with the school system because my children aren't in school anymore. Maybe your kids are, but you're not listening anyway. So it doesn't matter. So as the information comes out and you don't listen, then here's what you have. You have a system to where mentally disturbed people are going to now teach your children how to be mentally disturbed and not question and not resolve, or not even take time to say, well, I want to focus on something for a very long time. That's why the ADHD and the dyslexia and all these other issues are in place. And again, we talked earlier about these machines. They create these, and after a while, your eyes are bugging in your head, and you're, oh my God, I'm watching the screen. Can't go to sleep. I need caffeine or narcotics. I got a no-dose. I got opioids. And it all begins all over again the next day. Oh, got to get up. I got to need an energy drink. After that, you're pretty kind of dead in the water. But that's what it's like being in the U.S. today. Okay? It's just not that. Yeah, let's do this other thing. If you don't have a job, how would you really make money? And that's a question, because you got to look at it right now. Whether it's a low-paying job or a high-paying job. Okay, if you don't have this job, what other kind of skills or what other kind of issues do you have? Now, we call them jobs simply because they pay us. We are being put into a situation to where we're getting paid, okay, and we want to, have this life. We want to have all these things, but then most of the jobs now are all low pay. And it's very hard to move up in this society anymore simply because of the wealthy people. The wealthy don't want to mingle. And then on top of that, the cities and the counties, they definitely do not want to mix rich people with poor people. And that in itself is a discriminatory issue. Because at some point we were supposed to be equal in the behavior. But no, now it's rich against the poor. Okay, whether that's Asian, Hindu, black, white, whatever. It's all these rich people, and we already know those rich people, they don't even like each other. So at some point we have to look at it and say, who really is working for us in these issues? And is our own government now bought and paid for like we already know it is? Or at this point, like we use this president, this guy, Donald Trump. Now, just a minute ago, let me read this for you so I can get this right, because a little minute ago Donald Trump was talking about black home ownership, and you know something, in the life today in the USA, we have all these statistics, and here's one of the issues that came into place, that the Donald Trump made a false claim that black home ownership just hit the highest level it has ever been in history in our country. And the people said that's not even remotely accurate. Why? Because the black community, and I go back to my culture, because that's the only thing I have to deal with. If you other people want to go ahead and do whatever you're going to do, that's fine. You're not going to listen to us anyway. But what I do understand is the fact that you have people lying, cheating, and stealing all the time. We got a president now that just lies and lies and lies and lies. And you guys are like, wow, man, great for the black people. It's a lie. Here's the real issue that is involved with this home ownership thing, because of the fact that it's been like, I think they have here that let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. It doesn't have the right thing on here, but it does say that never mind. But if you look at the census statistics, you'll see that in most instances, you can get all the information you can about what's happening, the diversity, and who's doing what. But in America today, you have this type of issue where this president sits here and pretends like the black community is actually improving with him being in office. We know that's a lie, because we know that the improvements were made by the last president, and this guy's barely not even a year in, and he's claiming that he's done all these things. And again, right there, anybody that believes that this is part of what should and should not be, you shouldn't have any kind of authority at anything, because if you believe that, you're going to send other people down the wrong path. And that's also what's happening in this country now, because we have all these people that think that they're doing the right thing. And now look at the country. If everybody was doing the right thing all the time, things would not be the way they are right now. I'm just giving you that as an example, okay? Okay, now, guess what? Life today in the USA means that there will be a decline and almost the extinction of the malls. Okay, now, because of the internet and because of the recent issue of the internet starting to be not neutral anymore, things are going to change again. Now, of course, online purchases, you'll be able to do that with no problem. Shouldn't be a problem at all. But you watch, when it comes to education, the educational thing, it's going to charge you more just to go online. Watch. Believe me, it's going to get out of hand. Then you won't be able to get certain pieces of programming, because let's take that one I was telling you about before called Redacted Tonight or something like that. But can you imagine that particular program, or Democracy Now! I've seen that one too, or even NPR at some point. They had mentioned this as well, because they tell news stories that a lot of people don't want to hear, and pretty soon you won't be able to get that internet story on that internet. So what they'll do is continue to do the other issues like you know, the nightly programs, or you know, send the emails and when people do certain things. But as you can tell, all of the things that had been put in place during the last president's 8 years in office are now being taken away. And again, I mention again, this is the same thing that happened at the end of the Civil War. Oh, we were promised this and promised that, but oh, no, we're going to take it away. So I keep wondering, why is it people aren't thinking, well, wait a minute, man, shouldn't we leave here? Why? Because even though this may be one of the places where you can make money, but the rest of the countries in this world are growing. And this is what I'm going to tell you now, because, you know, the chaos that's going on in this world is specific to the chaos that's been going on in the world forever. It's been the same thing over and over and over again. It's like, take South Africa. Okay, after apartheid, you know, you can expect certain discomfort and people being displaced because of the white and the black issue, and the whites putting the dominant issue. Now, what's going to happen here in the United States is there'll be another apartheid issue, but this particular issue will be poor against the rich. So, as we move forward and we look at the world, me, myself, I want to leave. So I've been looking at other places, like I said earlier about France, you know, simply because of the camping issue for me and the fact that I think I want to learn French. My last name is French, so I want to be able to learn that, and maybe some Swahili, you know, in order to deal with my people better down in South Africa and over in the east side of Africa, because that's where I believe our farming project is going to take off and move very quickly. In Kenya area and over there, Mozambique. A lot of areas where I want to go where people don't go, where they don't hear about nothing, because that's where the life can grow, and it can be, and I mean just massively put to place. So as we move forward and this life goes forward, remember, we only got 2 more of these, and I want to thank you people for not listening and not paying attention, simply because this has been a great issue for me. It's a completion, and it's also an issue of my competency. Now, I said this before, and I've been trying to say that for the last 2 months here of these last issues, because, you know, what I think about, and when it comes to things like the sanctuary city, or giving $1 trillion to Israel, or having a system where you don't have a reward system in place, and especially in the education fields, where people are not being trained or even taught to really survive the future, let alone, you know, how to learn in a different manner, because people learn in different ways. But, you know, I'm going to keep praying. I'm going to keep saying, you know, help me. I'm going to try to do what I can. But you know something? It's this misery, you know, because I'm poor and I want to be rich, but it's hard to get rich when people are so greedy. But I want richness to pass out. I like being what I am. I'm really nothing, and I like that. I do, because I've been a lot of things in life, and I don't really want to be that anymore. I just want to be a good servant. But I want to pray for you. Thank you, and we're coming to an end here. And we've got to remember the unprecedented chaos and the other issues of unrest in the rest of the world. It looks to me like it's going to come here. It's already here, maybe, but it will get worse. So I just want to say thank you and giving me this opportunity not to listen, because I'm glad I did it, and 2 more to go. That's all you got. You turned off now. You weren't listening anyway. Bye.